the butt sex. Not the money. I just wanted the butt sex.
Well, from
Everyone's
Kojima,
like,
he wanted
The
that
whole Kojima
Kojima
thing
love.
was so bullshit.
everybody's in the back like, well, what about the fuck the money? I just wanted the sex, yo.
Well, we'll talk about
Just give
Jeff.
me Kojima.
We'll
I
talk
just
about
need
Jeff
Kojima.
Keighley not taking stands unless it's he's
Unless they put him
unless
like
it's
in the night,
Kojima.
like yeah.
But let's
Hurt
start
Locker.
because it's been a while. If anybody's beaten any games or started any games, I have a couple on my list.
I beat a game.
I beat it.
Balan
well,
Wonderland. Well,
Yeah,
Put that shit down.
I just
Put
tweeted
that
at you,
shit
man.
down. Hey,
So I don't
hey,
see that shit.
T, put that shit down.
and you got
yo.
the shittiest version too.
Burn
The
it.
bitch has like several copies of
Burn
that
it. What is that? Don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare.
What the
No!
fuck, dude? You think those are gonna be worth something?
No.
Yeah,
No!
you think because they're garbage games, they're not gonna be worth anything? You know how many garbage games are like the most?
How long are
expensive
you gonna
games
hold
the
on
console?
those?
How many copies do you
Until
own?
as long as I have to. That's why
No.
the shit was only $10. That
He-
ain't shit to me.
Okay.
T, how many copies do you own of Balan
Yeah,
Wonderland?
I didn't buy three $40 copies of the thing. I bought $10 because it was Black Friday. That's why I got 3 copies.
Hey,
It's
I mean,
Black
you're not gonna lose money. I mean, I'd be shocked if you couldn't sell those for $10, even if.
I can at least, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Did you?
I'm not in any hurry. I'll hold on these bitches for years.
Did you play it? Did you start playing it?
No. It's
Yeah,
trash.
That's on. No, it don't make.
That's the bad
Don't
Like
make
that's
it-
a really.
Now that's insane to make him play. He's not gonna do that.
So
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, have some pride about yourself. Shit.
I finished Dread like last week.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
How you feel about it?
It was one of those boss fights where it's like it seemed impossible. So I went back and probably 2 hours, maybe hour and a half of finding the last 2 health. What are they? Energy parts? Not the last 2. I had to find 5 more. I had to look up 2 of them because I couldn't find them. I was like, I need 2 more E-tanks, you know. I go fight them after, hour and a half to 2 hours of like going back through the entire game, every area, scouring it for shit. And I don't think I dropped below half health at any point. Like I did not need those 2. I just needed to take a break and try them again later. And I just absolutely destroyed the boss. And I was like, okay, well. At least I went back and found some stuff and, I'm not going to go back and 100% it because I literally went in every room and I didn't find, I'm like at 100% in 3 or 4 areas and like 92, 94%. And so I need 1 or 2 items. I'm like, I'm not going to go back through every area and hit the pulse thing looking for, invisible walls. Maybe on the second playthrough I might try that, but I will say as a Metroid fan, I'm used to certain things when it comes to the bosses or the end of the game, and so I was a little, I wouldn't say disappointed, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Whereas like Samus Returns kind of forced Ridley in there, and I think that a lot of people, I don't know if a lot, but a couple people I talked to kind of felt that was unnecessary in that game, so maybe they wanted to. Not make that mistake again. I don't know, but yeah, it was a good game. I like the story stuff, and I wish there was just a little bit more. And Retro and I were talking. There's one weird thing at the end. If you haven't beat it, I ain't gonna reveal it. It's just like, that was kind of weird. I don't know how I felt about that.
Are you talking about at the very end of the game?
No, I'm talking about right before the credits.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're about.
Something happens and it reverts something back.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I know exactly. What you're talking about.
I don't know what that means or if that's implications.
There has been a lot of theories. I'll just say that.
But either way, enjoyed it. I put
theories.
15 hours in my first playthrough, and I definitely will replay it again. I'm not like gonna do it right now, but yeah, I'm kind of torn about where it stands on my favorite Metroid games. Initially, I was thinking it was going to be my favorite, but I don't know if I can put it ahead of Super Metroid or Metroid Prime. Definitely not ahead of Prime. I don't know if I have it ahead of Super Metroid or not. So only time will tell. I'll have to replay it to really know.
I feel
But,
like it's heading that way for me.
How far are you into it, T?
Halfway.
see, I was feeling
Okay,
that way until I kind of went in that stretch where there wasn't really any story stuff happening, and I was just kind of scouring every area, and I was kind of taking my time, and I was like, I was getting a little frustrated with two of the mechanics. One is the ledge grabbing. There's so many times I'm trying to drop down a ledge like to do one of the
Oh, fuck that drop
and it
down
just
shit.
instantly grabs the ledge even if I'm a little bit far away from it, and then because I'm already pressing down, I have to like let go, press down, so I missed. You get that window of your shine spark, and I was getting frustrated by that grabbing the corner, and then the other one was the blue walls where I'm just trying to go up and get out of here with the spin attack or screw attack, and she kept grabbing that wall, and it's like it's just a minor thing. I'm just nitpicking because there ain't much else to really complain about. So
I'm not using the story stuff against it, even though that ending was absolutely stupid and I hated it. But I just have a lot. Yeah, we can talk about it because like T hasn't been there yet.
I know. I'm just.
But I can talk to you in private if you want.
I don't know what you
Okay.
can hate about it. Just,
I don't know
This
how
is
I don't know how you can hate it. I can understand being like
I'll talk to
displeased
you in
with
private about it.
All right, fine.
No, it's stupid. But there's just some gameplay stuff that is absolutely hated, and the main one is just like the backtrack canceling, and it just didn't feel Metroid to me. That stuff was really annoying. Plus, I'll always be hating on the stupid. Oh, it's like the sixth game. Let's remove all her powers again. Like they need to really stop doing that.
I can't agree with that. I
Every
can't.
Metroid game she started.
I can't agree with that.
It's not Link. It's not a new Zelda every time. This is the same Samus for 5 games. You're telling me every time when she builds up complete new powers and shit, you have to like take everything away again, have it start from scratch. It's stupid and cheap, and I'll always hate on that.
Last podcast clocked it was hating on T and I for bashing the GameCube, but he's gonna be pulling his hair out right now with Retro Tech. Like what can you do? Like I mean,
you can make smart game design choices by letting her keep the morph ball from the start.
I'm just saying.
Okay, remove maybe the space jump. Okay, keep the morph ball, keep a charge shot, keep your fucking message. You're getting 3 muscle upgrades that all do the same fucking thing in the game. Why not just let her keep that from the start and build your world properly to that? You don't need to.
Because that's what makes Metroid, motherfucker.
yeah. Then it's not. Then what?
Evolve the formula.
The core tenement of Metroid. What the fuck?
Yeah, but then create new upgrades. There are new upgrades here in this game. You add more stuff to it. Like,
well, you had the slide right
you
away.
said it yourself, Juice. You had the super missile for like an hour in the game.
Yeah, but
that has
nothing to do with losing the ability. That just has to do with some of the items get a replacement.
You don't need to take morph ball away from the start for every new game.
Well, all right. So here's my argument with that. At least Dread gives a more valid reason than I got slammed into a wall. Oh, there goes my power cannon. Shit. Like she got her ass whooped. She got her ass beat up, and they stole her shit.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
So
she got a legitimate ass whooping. It wasn't like,
and they even explain it. And they explain it towards the end of the game. I can't spoil it for T, but they do explain why that happens at the end of the game.
Well, don't play Shantae then either, because they do that with every Shantae game.
Yeah, they do.
So what's up to we got Donnie,
RPGs,
we got Lenny, we got Matthew, we got Brebe, we got Ayers, Falcon Black. What's up, everybody? What do you guys think of Retro Death's take there? It's a hot one. It's a hot take. I don't want my Metroid to be Metroid. I want it to be a different
Is it really? No, I'm not saying not to be Metroid. It's not that hot of a take, I feel, to just not take basic abilities away from the start because you can't have good level design in the
Let me ask you a question. In the grand scheme of things, compared to your other complaints, how much of a big deal is it for you that they do that in this game? That they do the whole she loses her powers?
Didn't they do another?
It's more okay, look, it's not the end of the world.
No, I need to know
every time I just start a game like that, like a new Metroid and stuff, I just find it cheap. I'm like, oh, there we go, we lose our powers.
I don't remember.
There was a joke like 2 games ago already.
I don't remember this complaint happening with other M discussions.
Other M is not part of these 5 Metroid games.
Oh, my
It's a Metroid
I-
game.
I made it very
Look.
clear in this discussion so that it wouldn't be a mistake. It's the same Samus from every 5 games. I did not bring
This
up
is-
other M. You did.
Other
That
M's
doesn't
the same
change my
Samus.
argument.
Other M's the same
If
Samus.
you want to go that way,
Yeah.
yeah, it does bother me that they do it in every single game. It even bothers me that they do it in Prime and stuff.
Okay, so does it bother you that not only and excuse me, in other M, not only you're rebuilding your skills and whatever, a bitch has to be told what she can use and when she can use that shit. That don't bother you?
She has the various-
Come on, like,
Other M is other.
She
M
has
is
the
worse,
various
she never-
suits. She's
I'm
just not allowed to
saying
use
that
it.
This
Yeah,
is
but-
becoming,
but-
this is becoming a different
Because that
discussion.
man over there got to tell her to use it
Look,
first.
look,
All
I'm
right.
not saying
Other-
other M is perfect. This is a completely different discussion.
I
just remember- I'm just-
I
I
liked
just-
in other
I
M
just-
that they did the 2.5D shit.
Well, let me
I
ask
just
you,
wanna-
Retro.
I just want to make a point. In other M, most of her abilities she didn't actually even lose. The kicker is like T was saying before, she had all of it, most of it.
To me,
except
that's
for a
more
couple-
frustrating.
Yeah,
I
let-
can't use my
Yeah,
shit,
that-
and to this
that's
dude
more
tell me I
frustrating.
can use it.
That's
Yeah,
more
but that's
frustrating. I would
again,
agree.
in my
And I like
opinion.
Is that
other
any
it's
better,
the-
Retro?
It's the same mechanic with a different excuse. It's the same like you guys said. Oh, but I love it how in this game she got attacked and her ass whooped. I love that beginning and shit. But you don't need to have
That's
her
more
lose a
logical
morph ball because
than
nah.
waiting for some dude to tell you can use your fucking cannon and you.
But that's also stupid. But I agree that that's
That's way
stupid.
more
Okay.
logical.
I'm just saying I don't remember hearing you bring that up when talking about other M, which
Because
is
I
fine.
don't bring that up again, because the main point is that this is the 5th game in a series of 5 games, and every time you do the same thing, and you're gonna get 6, and you're gonna do it again.
You stop being so selfish. For some people, this is their first Metroid, so stop being selfish.
And some people don't listen. And some people don't know how to shoot the walls either.
Honestly,
So
that's one of my favorite aspects of this genre is the new abilities. I will say though that you brought up the fact that some of the items quickly become pointless. Like, what's the point of the super missile when you get the ice missile right after and it like supersedes it, and it's like it feels like I didn't have the super missile for very long. That's something I complain about with Shantae and the Half Genie Hero. Not
Yeah.
only did you get a better moves set that made a one transformation completely useless. It was like, use this one time. It was very Zelda, formula where you get an item just for that area you're in. You'd use it in the dungeon or whatever, and then you would never need it again. They did that with Shantae and Half Genie Hero. It's like, oh, well, now I have the bat ability, or what do I need the spider ability for? It's like completely useless now. I don't think it wasn't anywhere near that for me.
No.
But I will say, referring to your, you don't like that they blocked the backtracking. I actually did prefer that, because you get to a point where you have to, like, you can backtrack. You're probably more than halfway through the game before you can fully backtrack. But at the same time, there's points where I was like, man, I don't know where to go. It keeps telling, this is really the only place I can go. And I was like, there's nothing here. Well, it just made me look and shoot blocks and kind of helped me find places. Oh, I can go back. There's a couple spots where I thought it was completely blocked off, but there was a invisible block that I found and shot, and it actually let me go back, and then I could get to all the elevators. So, they did it, though. There's a couple times where there's absolutely no way you can go back until you get, a new ability, which you get.
I will say this. I don't think they necessarily, I wouldn't call what they did with the backtracking blocking. They just made it a part of the gameplay. Like, they made it a part of the actual, like, way you traverse the game. Instead of having it where you go from one area, you can clear it out once you get the ability for that area, and then jump to the next area. They made it where the part of the linear path they got you on the backtracking is a part of that pathway. So I don't really call that
agree with
blocking.
that though.
There's a couple
'Cause,
spots
like,
where
there's like 3 different versions. Look, and I don't want to hate on the game because it's a great game, but there's 3 different versions the way they do it. And let's say you get to like a new area. I remember it specifically in one of the later stages. Like you get like the grapple beam, okay? So it's standard,
Right.
again, standard ability. You grapple a block, you pull it down, boom, path is blocked. You cannot backtrack through that area. You have to move on until way later till you get a different ability, and then you might be able to backtrack. But then you can't use that ability because you can't go through the new area because, oh, this area is now ice. You can't go through it. So you keep going on. And there's several different methods they keep using right? Until you're like way late, and I don't agree with the halfway point too, so but you're way late in the game, and now you finally have an ability you can like backtrack all the way through the whole thing,
No,
and then you like no,
when I
it's
when I
not. If
I'll
you guys complain that I don't think it's Metroid because I want you to keep your abilities, it's not Metroid that I can't explore with my new abilities. Like you can't have it both ways.
what I'm saying is that in the game, and this is the way at least from my playthrough, it was very much I got a new ability. It would unlock a couple new areas. Oh shit, there's a teleporter which would teleport me back to an earlier section. Now I can further explore that section to get to whatever item I need, and that's kind of how the game mostly handling like backtracking. It just makes it a part of the actual path.
Yeah, I
Like,
will
your
say
path
though,
requires you to go back.
there were there's other older Metroid games where it's not the first game, but where you can't go back at certain points. Not like it doesn't happen as frequently, but there's definitely spots where it's like, oh, you can't go back now, and how the hell am I ever going to get back to that area? Well, then you go through, you get a couple
they
abilities.
usually do.
Eventually, you end up back. You can finally like in Super Metroid, you finally get the I don't know if they call it the Shine Spark then, but you get the speed boots, and you can break through blocks, and you finally can get back to an area you couldn't get to from like the very beginning. There's stuff like that. But yeah, I agree that it's more common in Dread. I actually prefer it that way. And
Yeah, I didn't really have an issue with it. And it usually it's because of shit that Samus has done to the environment. Like for example, when you get into the heat area, you start fucking with the doors to get to whatever room you're trying to get to, but it inherently locks off certain areas. So technically, yes, backtracking is blocked, but it's technically your fault because you needed to get through this particular area first. Like it's you I don't mind shit as long as it makes sense in the context of the game. That's what
yeah, I mean,
that way.
it's fine if you don't like it, but it's definitely was their design choice, and I feel
Oh yeah, for sure.
they definitely executed their plan, I thought the level design was phenomenal throughout the game. There's only a few times where I didn't. I mean, I'd say 95% of the level design I would say is like excellent. So overall, though, it's a great game. Definitely gonna be discussed on the Game of the Year podcast. So I also started a new game, and no one in a million years would guess it. I'll say it's a 2021 game. It was on PlayStation Plus a while back as one of the games, and I downloaded it because it was a brand new game, day and date, on PlayStation Plus, and I was like, what the hell, it's a $40 game. It's A Plague Tale: Innocence, and I finally just started playing it
Oh yeah, I have that.
last week, and it's actually, it's not the most groundbreaking gameplay I've ever played, but it's a fun. It's not stealth in the way that you normally do stealth. It's more evasive stealth, and then eventually now I actually have some attacks and some abilities. I was actually toying with some knights and fucking them
Part
up.
of a series.
So yeah, I don't know. So the thing for me, this is the first time ever in my life that I've played a game 100% blind. I didn't know anything about this franchise. I didn't know anything about this game. I didn't see a single review, a single preview. All I saw was what reveal trailer, whatever, during a state of play, I think. And I just saw it was on, or maybe it was at E3. I don't know. I'm guessing it's a multi-plat.
Yeah.
And I just said, what the hell? I'm going to go in blind. I'm going to play this game without knowing anything. And it's, I'm surprised it was not what I was expecting. For anybody that's played the series before, I'm curious if they all follow a similar storyline, or is it different characters, different eras each time? Because these characters, it's like in the 1300s in like Europe, France, and the main character sounds French, her accent. Her family, they have her mom and dad and a little brother, and something starts happening. Well, it turns out it's like these like demon rats, like this just horde of millions of demon rats that if they bite you, you're dead, and they swarm to any meat and dead bodies and just like completely obliterate them. But they're afraid of light, so the whole mechanic is finding a torch or a light source to like make a path through these like millions of rats, and also dealing with humans and stuff. It's actually really unique, and I'm enjoying it. I got up to like chapter 15. I don't know how many chapters there are. I'm actually really enjoying it. So, as Robert would love to hear, it's not the best game ever, but it's pretty good.
Oh Lord,
It's pretty good. Story wise, is very interesting, and got like a cast of characters now, kind of like a group of interesting characters, and it's a fun game. And I would have never bought it. But
A Plague Tale Requiem is the other one.
Yeah, I'm curious because the characters in this don't know about this rat infestation. They call it the bite. It's like a sickness. There's obviously some supernatural thing going on, and it's pretty damn fun. So it's a bit of a walking simulator though at times, especially early on before you can do any attacks.
I was gonna say I'm surprised you like it because that's kind of more my style.
I thought I was thinking of you while I was playing it. And what's up, Trizzy? Haven't seen you here in a while. So like early on, you have like knights, and it's typical AI where they're facing away from you, and you got to get past them. So you throw a rock at some like armor, and like just like a box full of armor, and they go, "Huh, what's that?" And they walk over there, and then you just walk behind them. Huh, I guess it was nothing, the same shit since Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid.
But when you can start like extinguishing their flames, and then the rats come and get them, or you get this thing, this alchemist. You partner up with this like young apprentice, and you get this ability to like attract rats, so you can like throw it at them, and then the rats will swarm them, and then they like. That keeps them occupied, and you can sneak through. So there's some really cool, like, it's more of a puzzle stealth game, I would say, because you have to kind of figure out the solution, and you can do it multiple ways. So it's actually a pretty cool game, and I'm glad I downloaded it, because it's, if you don't download it within that month, it's gone, you only have access to it during that month.
Requiem is not out yet. It's the new game.
Is that the one coming out? Because I thought Innocence just came out. I could be mistaken.
It's supposed to come out next year.
Like I said,
is older than that.
Oh, that's the older one.
The third one done.
Okay, so aren't
there already two?
I'm mistaken.
No, there's only one.
Because I didn't look up anything. I wanted to go in blind. I didn't realize that this wasn't the newest one. Oh, this was 2019. Okay, so it wasn't a new game. Either way, though,
I had it in my queue for a long time. So
either way, I downloaded it, and I'm playing it. It says Nintendo Switch.
Did I buy it?
Is this a cloud game?
Yeah.
That one surprised me.
I wonder. I think they just brought it to PS5. That's what it was day and date with. Was the PS5
Yeah, it's
version.
PS5.
Yeah, the PS5 version came out that month, and that's why I thought it was a new game. So I actually I am interested in playing the next game then.
You gonna play it on Switch?
Hell no.
Oh man.
So it says Switch, but yeah, it's a 9th gen only game, so it's not coming to PS4 or Xbox One. So yeah, I definitely interested in. I might watch the reveal trailer again, just to see. But yeah, it's a decent game. It's one of those like I feel like it's not a similar game, but it's like I'd put it in the similar like category as the medium, where it's kind of creepy, it's kind of slow paced, but I'm already past where like I got to in the medium, so I definitely prefer this one to it, but it's kind of in the same vein, I guess, just more interesting characters and story. So yeah, that's my new game. Terrell, you start anything?
Yeah. So I decided to have a weird Black Friday impulse buy, and I started this Saturday. Where's the case? Oh, let me grab the case real quick. I feel like it's more triumphant that way.
Yeah, I don't have a case for my game.
The only one left there now. What the fuck's going on?
I finally.
Oh, that's right. I seen that.
Guardians. Yeah.
So I hadn't looked
I almost
up.
pulled the trigger.
I haven't. I
It was
didn't
what,
look up any.
$30?
Yeah, I hadn't looked up anything for it, but the only consensus I'd heard is that it was much, much better than Avenger. Now, I also think
It's
it's
not
because
saying
there
a
was,
whole
No.
lot.
it's not that. I'm about to say, don't get it twisted. It's not saying a lot. I think I've only put
Yeah.
about 4 hours into it so far.
Damn, you got
It's
a fuckload of achievements in 4 hours.
what? What?
I see on my PlayStation newsfeed, like, I always look
Oh
what people are doing
yeah.
and shit. You got like a fuckload of trophies in like 4 hours.
So I'll give the game credit because I was surprised. I thought it'd be one of those like walking, talking simulators with not a lot of death. Now, granted, it still has that shit to it. There's a fuck ton of dialogue. Actually, when I first cut it on, I had to change the settings because it does that thing where if you're talking, since they use intercoms when they're talking to other members, the shit actually comes out of your PS4 controller. Which I was surprised because no one fucking uses that feature on the
Wow.
PS. I was like, all right.
Days Gone uses that feature.
Woo, Days Gone. Woo.
You gonna keep riding on this glitchy ass horse. You gonna
Yeah.
But I was genuinely surprised it used one of the features that I had not seen most PS4 games use. Has a fair bit amount of exploration. I was going through like the first area is like this rundown spaceship, and there's actually a good chunk of alternate paths you can take to either get extra goodies or like upgrades to your characters. Actually, and the other thing is, shit is way more in depth with the characters as far as like developing them. God, I felt so bad for Rocket Raccoon in the first hour. I'm like, damn. And I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Don't get it twisted. I like those movies. But man, the way they handled just basic shit. Like, I think in the movies it's mentioned how he was like an experiment and he was tortured. God, they go into detail about that in the first couple hours. I was surprised. And it's optional. There's like a bunch of optional shit. Because I streamed it on Saturday, but I did like a test run of the first stage like a few days prior. And there was shit I just inherently missed. Where if you don't pick up certain items, it'll trigger certain conversations when you're back in the ship. And I was like, all right, that's a good amount of nuance for a game I didn't expect much out of. The combat, I'm like half and half with because you're only controlling Star-Lord. You're only controlling him with like assists from the other characters. It's
so like the Kirby game.
Star Ally. Star Ally.
No.
And it does do that whole trigger thing where you hold down the trigger, you pick the Guardian, and they'll do like a specialized action that helps you out. Most of that's fine. It's fine. I mean, considering what kind of game it is, I knew that going into it. It wasn't gonna be no crazy deep combat, but I'm very genuinely surprised with the story, characters, and the exploration. That's been surprisingly consistent, and the combat gets better. The funniest shit that cracked me up when I saw it in the tutorial is they had like this huddle super move, where it's like you're a band coming together, and you gotta hype yourself up before the show starts. The show in this particular case being you about to beat the ass of like a bunch of enemies or whatever, but you can fuck it up. And I didn't think they would put that in the game, where if Peter says the wrong thing, like fuck you, Peter, and then the morale drops and they actually take more damage. I'm like, okay.
Is there boss fights?
Yeah, they're boss fights. I've only done one major one, which was very interesting. Because all I'm gonna say is that llamas are deadly. That's all I'll say about that. I'm not gonna explain anything else. Llamas are deadly.
So
but yeah,
I was looking for games on Black Friday, and I mean, honestly, the best deals were all games I already own. Like Immortals was $14.99.
Yeah.
There was a couple games for $20. I'm like, man, if I didn't already own those, that'd great, But I saw that one. Miles Morales,
and you put them away.
Miles Morales didn't get enough of a price drop. I think it dropped to $29.99.
That's what I was.
I'm like,
that's
come
what
on.
I was looking for. That's what I was looking for too.
That should be $15-$20 at Black Friday price. But they're getting more like Nintendo here with their Black Friday deals and stuff. Like I think Ratchet dropped to $50, Returnal dropped to $50, Deathloop dropped to like $24.99. But I just don't care about that style game. There really wasn't anything that was just like, oh my god. I did pick up before Black Friday. I downloaded Jedi Fallen Order on PS5 for like $12 or something. It's $14 after tax. So I'll be playing that in the next few months. I didn't pick up anything else. Like I wanted to. I was looking
When
for
games are that cheap, you got to double up. You know, you got to double up, triple
God
up.
damn. That's
double up, put them away, man.
I like how he says double up and pulled out 3 games, you bitch. How dare you? Damn.
Games
I
already
mean,
have. But
I would have bought
keep it
Immortals.
just put them away.
I thought about buying the PS5 version of Immortals and then giving the PS4 version to either Terrell or Retrodeath, whoever wanted it. But I was like, if I'd have to pay, $10 shipping or $20, whatever the shipping would have been.
He didn't want us to have a unique experience.
But
That's what it was.
Do you live in Zimbabwe?
Yeah, but I say we don't live far enough. We don't live.
Retro.
Let me put it this way. It
That's
would
like
be
a
cheaper.
deal.
I'm gonna just say it right here. It'd be cheaper to give it to me. I'm just saying.
Oh,
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying it'd be cheaper.
But there really wasn't anything jumped out at me. I saw a headline. I didn't see if there's any actual numbers, but in the U.S., the Series S was the best-selling game system on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Now, my guess is that it was the most readily available. I'd be shocked if there was Switches still available. Maybe finally.
And it's a great price.
Was it still $299?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also heard the Switch it had a really good Black Friday in Europe though. That's what I had saw. Or was it just UK?
I meant to look to see if there was any Switches available, but I saw the Series S was available every time I've looked the last few weeks at Best Buy. So,
I saw them at Walmart stacked. I was like, oh.
Well, here's the thing that, here's the smart. It's more of as somebody who cares about recycling and stuff, it's actually a good idea. Graphics card companies do it all the time, but the Series X chip has 64 CUDA cores or whatever they call it. And if a few of those don't work, instead of throwing that chip away, or I don't even know if they can recycle them, they can just deactivate half of, because the Series S, I think, is 32 or whatever, it's half. They can just deactivate, and you have a perfectly good CPU for, that device. So, it's basically every time they make a Series X chip and it's not good, doesn't have enough functioning cores, they can just go to the Series S. I'd be curious if there was any that failed enough that it wouldn't work on the Series S. So actually, it's a very good thing to do. And so the one part about it that bugs me a little bit was I found out with the xCloud is they're using the Series X chip. So all their xCloud servers they've been working on for the last year plus are using Series X chips. So that every one of those servers, which there has to be thousands of them for people to game off of, that's one less Series X that could have been in the stores. So it was kind of their decision. And I'm not sure what the numbers were for the Series X or Switch or PS5. We don't have any numbers, but I was surprised to see that. I thought for sure the Switch would have took it, but
I almost freaked out. I thought we had 137 people watching. Man, that's somebody else's podcast.
We used to get we used to get near 100 back when the Switch was first announced and all that hype.
I remember that.
The NX reveals and stuff. Series S uses its own. It's not cut down. Are you sure, man? I'm pretty sure I heard that's where the Series S chip was coming from. Oh, that's the GPU. I'm talking about the CPU. Yeah, the GPU is completely different. I was talking about the CPU. Graphics cards do that for their GPU chips, where that's why for those that look at it at all, there'll be like a what's your card, Terrell? Drawing a blank.
2060.
So yeah, the 2060. Then they have the 2060 Super, and then they'll have the 2070. Well, the 2070 or 2060 Super is basically a 2070 where they just deactivated a few of the cores, and so it's in between, so they're just utilizing these chips instead of throwing them away. That's why there's so many variants GPUs, is that it's just a smart way to do it for them, cost and for just waste, because those, I'm pretty sure those aren't recyclable. But yeah, a little surprised, but good for Microsoft. And with the xCloud, I don't know if if you had the Series S, I don't know if I would use xCloud, because Series S games get the 60 frames per second. So basically, the xCloud is the Xbox One version, basically visuals, but at 60 frames per second. So I was actually I think about just keeping my Xbox One S and using the cloud streaming to play Forza and Halo. But
go ahead.
At the same time, I could get close to 300 for the Series S, or for the One S, and then just pick up a Series S, which would be a better option. So
I was gonna say, in today's episode of Maybe It's Not For You, because a lot of people were like, who's gonna buy a Series S? Who's gonna buy that?
Well, I was thinking that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, another real world example. This kid I work with, he's 20. I think he's 20, and he's like, I like to play games, but I'm not like I don't go in crazy with it, and I don't want a bunch of games all over my house, so I don't care if it's digital. He said that he went out and bought a Series S, and he got Game Pass, and he's fucking over the moon. He loves it. So a lot of people, if you just combine, especially if you just combine Game Pass with the Series S, they're completely happy. They can do everything they want to do, and they don't care like I care about physical copies or any of that shit. They just want access to a bunch of games for a relatively cheap price, and they have that box, and they're good to go. So
it's gaming Netflix.
I mean, it's especially Netflix. If you have a 1080p TV, it's like a really good compliment. I will say, Microsoft made a bad decision, or if something I figured Nintendo would do too. They have their proprietary expandable storage, and I checked Black Friday early in the morning. Just I was looking at hard drives. That shit's still $220, and now they're and they're talking about, well, we're gonna release a 500 gig version. It'll be cheaper. I'm like really? You can't lower the? I'm looking at all these SSDs down like 100, basically that Gen 4 that speed version of a standard solid state drive's like $100, $90 during Black Friday.
Yeah, but here's the thing:
it's proprietary.
How much were those cards costing? Because I remember when SD, especially like 500 gigabytes, get it for your Switch. Those bitches were not cheap. They were in the 100 to 200.
Yeah, I remember
range.
the 1 terabyte was SD card was 200. Yeah, but SD the thing cards. Is, it's been out for a year. It's the only option, and I just thought maybe get a Black Friday price. So I gotta call out Seagate and Microsoft
360?
for not following suit, because all the M.2 drives, like the PS5 that go on the PS5, $160. They're normally $220, $240. So it's like I was just kind of hoping Microsoft would step up there and follow suit, because
I'm just gonna wait. It's gonna be cheaper at some point.
At some point, yeah. Wait. But they announced a 2 terabyte version, and that's gonna be $400. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, fuck that.
So that's so far the only like misstep I would say with the series consoles is that it's not quite as bad as the Vita's proprietary pricing, because that was like double or more, 3 times depending on the size you got. But at some point that needs to come down, because
the Vita, you had to have a card,
and you had to have it. Yeah, that's why
right.
Vita was way worse. Plus it was like 2 to 3 times the price of a standard SD.
That was the same problem with the fucking PSP, and it was proprietary fucking cards in that thing. What was I gonna say? Fuck.
Well, I'll just say that I even if those solid states get down to 100, like I'm so content with the amount I have when I hooked up that external for all my PS4 games. Like I have plenty of room at this point, You know, maybe someday that those get below $100, I might, but I don't really feel the need. You know,
I like the convenience of basically a USB sticking in your console instead of something that you have to have plugged into power. You know,
Yeah,
to have a
definitely.
power cord and all that kind of shit.
that was something I was going to talk about too. It was a sad day yesterday. Not really, but you know, it's thinking about it. I boxed up the Wii U for the first time since I opened it in 2012. I hadn't turned it on. I've had it unplugged for months, probably the better part of 6 months, and I was like, you know what? It's collecting dust. I'm just gonna put it back in the box, keep it safe. But I just threw away the hard drive box, the external Western Digital 1 terabyte. That was the biggest. I wouldn't say the biggest. To me, that was one of the bigger shortcomings of the Wii U, was that the USB ports couldn't power a hard drive. So you had to buy a hard drive with an external power supply. And so now I have this big old HD, or yeah, it's an HDD.
No, mine doesn't have external.
If it works, you're lucky because it's
you just have to have the dual.
Oh, the dual, yeah. But
USB.
that's still the same thing. It has to have
Well, yeah.
An additional
you don't
power.
Actually plug it into a core. You have to actually plug it into a wall.
See, mine, I could plug mine into the wall, or I could plug it into a USB. I chose to plug it into the wall. But I just did some house cleaning a few months back, and I've held onto that box since 2012, and I finally threw it away, and now I was like, damn it, why did I do that? Because now I have nowhere to put this hard drive. And, you know, it's got games on it, some of which I may never be able to download again, you know, who knows, 10 years from now. So, you know, that's...
So you download them and you back them up. And you jailbreak your fucking Wii U.
That's
why you don't... You fucking play... You can play... Wii U is the ultimate fucking Nintendo console. Because you can play... If you break that bitch, you can play every goddamn thing on it.
Yeah,
like everything.
People said,
Game Boy, you know, all that shit. DS,
it
everything.
Plays Wii, like GameCube games on through Dolphin, like upscaled.
And it looks better. It's the ultimate. The ultimate.
Maybe
Nintendo
I'll do that
system if you do that.
And the reason I didn't do the reason I didn't do the Y adapters because I used the Ethernet adapter, so I only had one USB port in the back. I didn't want to use the ones out the front because
dangling out the front looks ugly.
Yeah. So yeah, we put away. So Terrell, you know, it's
the end of an era.
If these guys want to play, I'm gonna have to be like you. I don't want to get out of the box.
Well, I'm definitely gonna make you. I'm definitely gonna say let's play now because you.
I didn't put the gamepad away. I just charged it and left it out. But yeah.
Is that the spirit of the Wii U lingering in the room?
I don't know. So yeah,
I remember I did that from my Wii. I was ready to cry.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't really need the Wii anymore because the Wii U plays Wii games. I play GameCube on my actual GameCube, so I don't really need for that.
Maybe we should apologize to the GameCube.
GameCube only has shitty games.
After a couple weeks ago.
Wow.
Here's the thing: I did my own cast for it, and so it was mostly positive in my podcast. So I came to yours.
He does that.
Wow.
You know what's funny?
Wow.
You know what's funny though?
He used.
I looked up.
I use your podcast to take a shit. You know?
I looked up my ranking my Nintendo consoles video back in like 2016, and I started at number 6, and that was the GameCube, my least favorite. And in first thing I say is, Retro, this is my opinion, or not my opinion. What was the phrase that you got confused with? It didn't deliver for me. I said that didn't deliver for me. I said that specifically 5 years ago. I'm like, we're still having the same argument 5 years later, where he thought I was just speaking in general.
And it also didn't deliver for the market because the market spoke also, just like the spoke for the Wii U.
But I just want to reiterate, I loved the actual hardware itself, like the console itself, the architecture, you know, the power, the just how fast it was, how quiet it was. I really just enjoyed that, you know, just some.
It's a great piece of hardware.
It is, and it's
no doubt about
unfortunate that there had to be some kind of They always got to do something though to give third parties excuses. And
I wonder how much Nintendo was making on the GameCube at 200, because they
that
didn't
thing was
sell it at a
yeah.
loss.
The PS2 was 300. Xbox
Right.
was 300, I believe. So let's have a
PS2
positive.
I understand because
Had the
of
DVD player.
It should have been 500.
Yeah.
But they were eating $250 per console sold.
Well, let's have a
Which is
fun
insane.
little thing with the GameCube. So I want to play What If, like the shitty Disney Plus Marvel series. I tried to watch this
Damn.
episode. I tried to watch it.
Look,
But what
if?
if? What if? What do you think would have been either the better launch game or what one would have had the bigger impact? Saving Majora's Mask for a GameCube, turning it into a GameCube launch game, or Perfect Dark and pushing it that it's the sequel to GoldenEye. Which one of those two would have had more impact on the sales of the GameCube?
Right.
Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask is what I would go with.
It's got to be Majora's Mask, right? But
If they could somehow spin Perfect Dark into letting everybody know, hey, this is GoldenEye 2, because by the time
yeah,
that
But
came
it's
out,
still something new. People who loved GoldenEye still won't be, oh yeah, I'm gonna play like a better GoldenEye. It's still something different. And Zelda,
yeah,
it's that one thing that no matter what will always work for Nintendo. And as a launch thing, a new Zelda is gonna have a much more impact than, it's kind of like GoldenEye, but it's kind of spacey. Like people will probably buy it, but sales-wise,
Yeah,
I have no doubt.
I have one caveat. If it was, here's the successor to GoldenEye online,
yeah,
that would have sold fucking GameCubes.
LAN parties and all that,
right. I think it was sold better than, because Zelda was a popular series, but it was still kind of a fan series in that era. Like it didn't really break out. Well, it didn't really break out until Breath of the Wild.
Well, Lucius, it would have had still had the same art style. It just would have looked way, they would have just
it'd been cleaner.
Higher resolution textures and more detailed character models.
Just think of the remakes on 3DS.
Or think of Star Fox Adventures, that level of quality visuals,
right.
But with the...
I think if you do what T said and you add the online stuff, that would have been a world of difference. Because then people from outside of Nintendo would have, instead of people flocking away from GoldenEye to other consoles, it would have been like other people would have come to it. That would have,
Nintendo has this crazy online FPS game. Like that would have been.
Well, that was a year before Xbox even got going.
Yeah, but that would have been smart.
What if? I mean, obviously, the best case scenario would have held both those games. So you'd have Majora's Mask. Perfect Dark.
That would have been a little too much, I think.
Luigi's Mansion and Star Wars. That would have been a really good launch lineup. I think that would have changed the GameCube.
The launch window of the GameCube was pretty freaking epic, though, right? Because you had Smash Brothers out within a couple of weeks. You had Pikmin out within a few weeks.
But the narrative was
shitty Nintendo game.
We get
first
Luigi
party trash and stuff.
If Smash was online, if that was a thing, like we're dropping these big games,
it's so weird because Nintendo they did start with the online stuff on the Cube. Like if you had the broadband adapter, like I think Double Dash could have gone online. It's like they tried.
They had the LAN. You could do LAN with the Double Dash.
They figured
it was online. Was a Sega game.
I don't think they were confident in it at the time.
And I think you could hook up 8.
Exactly. Like,
I think you could
they
hook
were just
up
afraid to.
Like 8 or 10 games.
They actually came out and said nobody really wants online.
So
they said something along those lines. I'm like, what?
Correct me if I'm wrong, though. As much as now people like Luigi's Mansion, it was definitely not what people were excited about. It wasn't the same as a Mario 64 sequel.
Luigi's Mansion
at
is
launch.
Luigi's Mansion is still a pretty niche title. Like it's not like even now I wouldn't call it mainstream.
Well, even that's the thing. Now it's more beloved and whatnot. But I remember I was there. People weren't happy with Luigi's Mansion. They wanted fucking Mario because up until that point we got a Mario with every Nintendo console.
Mm-hmm.
That was a thing.
Yeah.
NES, SNES, N64 all had a Mario title, and so people just expected another Mario title. And there's nothing wrong with Luigi Mansion. It's a little short. It's a great game, but it wasn't Mario. It was we were all expecting to get a Mario
Yeah, if
game.
Luigi's Mansion would have came a year later, and Sunshine could have been ready
Right.
at launch. I think either
That's
Sunshine at launch and have it be, obviously not be rushed and have even more issues in the final boss. I know, especially there was some major frame rate issues. But either way, they couldn't have got it out in time. But
It's
hypothetically,
like, I wasn't like clocked. Like I didn't work in the gaming industry. I wasn't like I was still a little bit younger with the GameCube. I was like teens and that kind of
You
shit.
were that much younger than me.
And like,
Oh,
but when Luigi's Mansion dropped, like I was not like all like in the game magazines or that kind of shit, or that much online. So I was just in my own world.
Yeah.
And I thought when Luigi's Mansion dropped the first trailer, my thought was like, yo, Luigi's saving Mario for once. I can't wait for this shit. And then they made like this ghost house kind of adventure and shit. Like,
yeah, you were definitely
that's
in the
all I really
minority.
get.
Mario is missing. We had that shit already.
You were in the minority because
because
everybody, all the gamers I knew, it was unanimous. Like, what the? Why is Mario? Why is there no Mario game? It was like even in the magazines, even the IGNs.
Yeah,
and
even
stuff.
in the magazine. You read the comment, read the things from.
It
the
looked
letters
good
and
though.
whatnot.
Visually, it looked really good, and it's just like, man, I wish that
Yeah,
was
it
a Mario.
gorgeous.
Still
Still
so
gorgeous.
some people still prefer that older style of Luigi's Mansion.
so
Yeah,
there's
I
no.
prefer the ghost design. Certainly.
Luigi's Mansion, the original Luigi's Mansion was meant to be somewhat horror-ish.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's more like a
little
Pixar
goofy.
horror.
Yeah. Well,
It's
here's the
like
thing.
Pixar horror.
Here's what I can tell you. Was it 2001? So I was 23 years old
Damn.
when that came out, and the only way to pre-order it was with
I
a
was
bundle.
10.
You had to get 3 games. I struggled to come up with 3 games to buy at launch. So I got Star Wars, Rogue Squadron or Rogue Leader, whatever, Rogue Squadron 2.
Most people did.
That was for sure. Then I was like, what else should I get? Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a Madden in a while, so I got Madden 2002.
Yep. And it looked
And
good.
I'm like,
It
what the
looked
hell is
really
the
good.
third game? I'm looking through that Luigi's Mansion now. Not going to do it for me. I pulled the trigger on Super Monkey Ball. I was just like, this looks interesting. That was my third choice, and honestly, I enjoyed the game. But the fact that had to be my third choice spoke a lot for me. Like if they just hold.
Wait, so you're saying no Nintendo game in your top 3 choices for a GameCube
No.
launch?
For me,
I think that,
that
says a lot. Yeah.
But just I don't know why. What Majora's Mask and Perfect Dark both came out in like
Whew.
a year. Well, I think which one came out first? Majora's Mask 2000 or
Majora's
was
Mask was second, 2000. Yeah.
just hold that shit for a year or less than a year at that point, and I just don't know.
Okay, so I wanna add to your what if game. What if they released all the same shit and you had Majora's Mask at launch, a Zelda you don't like, and they had Perfect Dark, a game you kind of like? Would that really have
Well-
altered your opinion on the
Wait,
GameCube
you
overall?
choose
Well, he
to
wouldn't
like
have-
Majora's Mask?
I think it's okay. It's probably my least favorite 3D Zelda, but I didn't know that I wouldn't have known that. I would have
you
bought
would've
the
known.
game, but
Let me-
I'm talking about just in general the sales.
I think Majora's Mask would have worked better on the GameCube anyway, because it's a very horror-filled Zelda. Like, and it's like
Yeah.
creepy. It's like creepy as shit. Like, I think on the GameCube that would have
Yeah.
looked great. And then it probably would have helped the backlash that would come with Wind Waker a little bit better, because it's like,
For sure.
look, I already got a Zelda on the GameCube, so this isn't
Right.
this is like extra.
I just wonder how
So-
many more millions of GameCubes if they had 1 or 2 of those at launch. And
Okay, let me ask you a question, and this is for all y'all. What later GameCube game would you move to the launch window? Do you think would have the most impact on sales? So if you took a game
Resident
that
Evil
launched,
4.
Prime.
Ooh.
I think Resident
wanna
Evil 4
say
would have had the
Prime.
most impact for general audience. Nintendo.
I
fan.
would say Prime because the Nintendo 64 had no Metroid, and that was always something people would keep bringing up. So if you would launch the Cube with Prime, like I think that would have changed a lot more.
I think it would have sold 5 million copies, because that was the thing with Halo. when Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft had this big first-person
true.
shooter, Halo, and Nintendo didn't have anything.
I think for sure
like that.
you take.
If Prime had online, I probably would have agreed.
Well, Halo didn't have online, so it didn't have to have online.
Yeah.
Just had to have multiplayer.
Yeah, okay.
I would
Halo
say
2 was when they started
whether
online.
it was a Prime or Resident Evil 4 or the two late N64, any one of those games at launch of the GameCube, it easily beats the Xbox lifetime sales, I think.
Because they're running around showing Prime. It's fucking gorgeous. Like it is a system seller type of game. Because one, it's gorgeous. Two, it's an FPS game, which was huge. That's when FPS had really started to boom in that era.
Yeah.
It would have sold GameCubes like nothing. Like it would have been no thing at all. That's why I said it would have sold 5 million units.
Here's another what if. What if it launched with the Wavebird instead of a wired controller?
Oh my god!
Wow.
If that was the standard controller, the standard GameCube controller was the Wavebird, Nintendo would have stomped everybody. Like it would have been.
It wouldn't have beat the PS2s, no way. But I mean,
no. I just meant like as far as mind share during the launch, it would have been huge. Like
I never had that problem. Like, cause I think the Wavebird is one of the best controllers, but I never had that problem with the original GameCube controller because when I had the GameCube, I was still like living at my parents, so my GameCube was literally standing like right in front of me.
Yeah, but when controllers went wireless, that shit was.
I very much believe GameCube in some ways suffered just off of its aesthetics alone.
I do.
Oh no, it totally did. I'm telling you, that's what I said in my little podcast. Is that I was around people. I was talking to people, and they're like, "Man, I ain't buying that little purple, that little purple box. That shit." And and Nintendo of America knew that. They were trying to tell them, "Hey,
that's why they released the black one.
Because can't go with this purple one. That's the main one. That like, I don't know about anywhere else, but in America, like I was talking to guys around my age or even younger, and they're like, I can't play that kitty looking shit." Like that's what they were saying. And like, I knew right away when I saw the GameCube for the first time, and I love the GameCube. When I saw it for the first time, I was on web TV. I was sitting there trying to buffer Space World 2000, sitting there trying to buffer. Shit coming up slowly. So it took 10 minutes to get like a 20-second video, and I saw the purple box. I was like, "This thing's gonna fail." I said that word for word. I remember exactly what I said. I said, "This is not gonna do well."
Okay, let me take control of this. Let me take control of this conversation. Something I wanted to do last time, but I didn't do. I want to do it now. You just said you love the GameCube, so just without anything negative, give me 3 things you love about it.
I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, no, I just want to know.
I've done this on my podcast.
Tell me who you love.
I'm telling you what other people are saying. Like,
no, but I believe you. But I mean, like, give me 3 things you like about the GameCube.
I love the mini discs because of load times. That's that was one of the things that was supposed to be a knock against it. I don't really believe that. I just think, when something's failing, they look at things and it's that. People do that shit all the time. I love the mini disc. I love the design of the console itself. It was beautifully designed. It was great for programming. It was really easy to program for. Nintendo really wanted to make sure it did all that stuff. And the fucking controller. I mean, I love the GameCube controller. I still use that bitch today. So
I love the feel of ejecting the discs. That it's just a nice, satisfying press the button.
It's so sturdy. It's a sturdy, obviously quiet. The color was the problem. It's quiet as hell, sturdy, perfectly built.
I was like the feeling when you close the lid. I don't know why. It's extremely satisfying.
Yeah, it's satisfying as hell.
Yeah, the only thing I would change design-wise is get rid of the gray square that has the controller ports and the memory card slot. I just don't. That gray just doesn't isn't a good accent, I don't think, for the purple.
I personally would have flopped the color scheme. My theory, this is my own internal theory, was that Nintendo was trying to harken back to the Super Nintendo. They wanted to get that kind of feel again. They were trying to get third parties back on board, and they did. They got a lot of guys back on board, and they were like, they looked at that color scheme of the Super Nintendo, and I'm like, they instead of making the purple the main color, they should have made the purple the trim of the GameCube and gave it the Super Nintendo gray. I think that would have been a better move.
I would like to see that actually. I like I said, I thought it was good hardware. I liked the controller. I didn't love it, but I really liked it. I was one of those because I had the Xbox and stuff. I really missed the extra button. So some games like Tiger Woods and stuff, you had to do some stupid. You had to hold one button to make another button be something else. It was just silly.
What is it? Sega Genesis?
That was
Genesis Street Fighter shit.
Yeah, that shit was like that Z button felt so tacked on last minute. It's one of don't want to get into any more negative. I will say the Z button's probably my least favorite button on a Nintendo controller, other than maybe just the Joy-Con ABXYs because they're so small and they dig into my hand. But I think that Z button it's really hard. It's hard. It doesn't move much. It's like next to those nice soft triggers. It was just like, what the
it's
fuck?
Not well built at all.
But yeah, so
and that D-pad, bro, that D-pad. That's
the
That's
smallest
D-pad.
But yeah, I just think
Game Boy Advance D-pad, yo.
I just think somebody said that they would have delayed those games 2 years, not if they had started them as 2 years before the GameCube came out. Said, "Oh, we're making these launch titles for GameCube." This.
Did Conquer need to be a late N64 game? Put that bitch as a launch.
And we know now that
game.
those games didn't sell for shit at coming out late on the N64's life. So, and you could say, well, you take those games away. Those are some major games for the N64, but we're talking just about helping the GameCube have started off better and finished stronger.
And we'd be still praising them. And it's not like we wouldn't be praising Majora's Mask or Perfect Dark. I think we'd probably be praising Perfect Dark even more if it was a GameCube, because the N64 was struggling with that.
Yeah, it really struggled.
It struggled. So if that shit was 60 frames on the GameCube, oh my god!
I never even beat the damn thing because I couldn't beat the boss.
Yeah, it's tough. It took me quite a few tries, if I remember correctly.
So
like 20. It took me like 20 something tries.
So yeah, there you go. Some positivity and a real, just a general positive, not positive, but a realistic discussion about what caused the failure. It could have been the shape. It could have been because of the shape. Then they called it the GameCube. They couldn't have called it the GameCube if it wasn't square.
It's not really a cube until you put the Game Boy player on it. That's weird.
Yeah.
It's more a cube.
Yeah. So I said this, and I don't know if everyone here is going to agree. In my opinion, the biggest downside to the GameCube's failure, 20 million, that's still not as big of a failure as a Wii U, but the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest negative to come from that was Nintendo's new strategy. Yeah, they made the Wii U, significantly more powerful than the Wii, but it was still significantly behind the Xbox One and PS4. So Nintendo's lesson, in my opinion, was from the GameCube. One of the big lessons was not to invest in a super powerful system. Yeah. So for me, that's the biggest downside to the GameCube's low sales.
But here's my question. Do you think that was the right lesson to take from that situation?
No.
Because to me, it kind of didn't make any fucking sense. I'm like,
no. The Wii could have still been the Wii and been in HD and been still...
We could have had an HD Wii and cost... $300 or $350, and it still would have been.
It's kind of like when the GameCube failed and you came out with the Wii. I'm kind of like, so what you took?
And they took the wrong lesson from the Wii. They took the wrong lesson from the GameCube, and then they took the wrong lesson from the Wii.
Yeah,
I think the biggest problem with all of that is that we always say all these companies should take from Nintendo about the innovations, but Nintendo should have done the same thing and took innovations from the competitors. I think the problem also with the Wii U was, they made it stronger than the Wii, which is what they tried doing, without taking into account maybe we should make it, as strong as the competitor. They just made it stronger than the Wii. They just need to keep looking at that.
To be fair, the Wii U was the strongest system out when it came out. Problem is that you were comparing yourself to hardware that was from like 2006.
Yeah.
7 years
Yeah, I
old.
mean, even at its best, it still was, the 360 was right there with it. It's not like the 360. I remember Black Baron. He went to the Wii U, like they were traveling around, and they had like, it was in the back of a truck in a trailer. You could go play it,
Yeah.
and he made a video, and he's like, the most next gen looking game was Rayman Legends. Like, by far, out of the games I played, that's the most next gen game. Fast forward a few years, it's running at 1080p 60 on the Xbox 360. It looks just as good as the Wii U, and that was the game he's hailed as the most next gen looking game for the Wii U, and it ran easily on the 360. So
To be fair, Baron was at the prime of his game during the Wii U era, and he was trolling like a motherfucker.
no, he was
Like,
legit, like, because there was nothing else really to.
I think he was serious. I saw
It was
that. I think he
Nintendo
was
Land.
serious.
It was Rayman Legends and Zombie U,
Yeah, remember, so yeah, the Wii U didn't have a lot. for
and
you to be
New
like-
Super Mario Brothers U. So
Yeah, the Wii U didn't have a lot for everyone to be like, yeah.
This
People gotta think about it.
Why we get back to the GameCube? We're talking about the Wii U. And shit.
I just want to put this in context. The Wii U was the first HD Nintendo console, and we're only one console removed from it. And it's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. The fuck
Yeah.
is going
yeah.
on?
So does anybody?
The point I was trying to make about
Go ahead.
the price of the GameCube was, about how much profit they were making off of it. That's the point I was trying to make about that, was that, well, they were clearly making profit off of the GameCube. They didn't sell anything at a loss until Wii U. So if you were still making profit on a powerful console, why stop? You could still make the Wii powerful, or at least powerful enough, and still make profit off of it. So I don't know why they didn't just continue to do that, because it wasn't like the graphics of the GameCube was the problem.
No.
That's what was holding it back.
That was the best. Like, for most people, that was some of the best. Like, some of the best
Right.
games were hailed for how good they look and
So
still
they-
look today.
Right. So they could have made something that was maybe not as powerful as the Xbox 360, right? They could have made something that was not as powerful, but still looked really good. Still was an HD console, an HD Wii, and they still could have made profit, and they would have been, ahead of their time at least.
Because the
And
360
wouldn't have-
launched at 400 with the hard drive. So
Right.
if an HD Wii is 300 or 250 or 350, it still would have been cheaper than, and definitely cheaper than the
Right.
PS3. Like, it still would have been the go-to cheap device for people.
That may have happened if the Wii didn't kill it like it did. I felt
They
like
would have launched with Twilight Princess HD.
I very much feel like the Wii sat there and did so fucking well. Nintendo was kind of like, well, we're good, and they were good for a while.
Well, they didn't know it was going to do well. I mean,
No,
they
that was a
assumed.
gamble.
That was a gamble. That's
Yeah,
the
that was a
gamble they
big
wanted.
gamble, especially when you had these two juggernauts fighting it out with their big HD consoles, and you're going to come out with a two GameCubes duct taped together.
500, what was it,
really?
88
The
megabytes of
system
RAM?
that just failed, or not failed, but the system that just didn't do nearly what you wanted it to do.
It
You're going to double
underperformed.
down on that? Like, wow.
And
That was a gamble.
that's the worst. I think that's the worst lesson, for me, of the Wii was, hey, look how well this sold. This thing, we don't have to make them powerful. And then they tried with the Wii U. I got to give them credit. I mean, it was a huge jump from Wii to Wii U. It was a significant jump.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
got
it
to
was
give them
pretty-
credit for taking it, but they could have. They talked about, it was Reggie and Miyamoto and somebody else,
You're gonna
how
go
they
where I
had to
think you want.
balance the price versus performance, or Iwata, not Miyamoto, Iwata and Reggie. The gamepad and all the R&D for that, and having that no latency streaming to that controller,
Yeah.
meant that they had to pull things back on the hardware, so because they wanted to hit a price point. And
Yeah.
350.
But not only that, I thought you were going to touch this too, but not only that, they spent 7 years not doing HD games while
Mhm.
everybody else was. So they had to catch up. So the Wii U was a system shock
Yeah.
to them when they started developing for it. They said, it was taking longer.
Mhm.
That's why we got Wind Waker HDs and stuff like that, because
Yeah.
they were trying to practice on it basically. And, that's what I was
Well, that was-
talking about.
that-
Was they weren't ahead of the
very-
game. They were behind the game. after
Yeah,
that.
because they very much, and it also just showed during the Wii era, they were just kind of comfortable wherever their zone was and didn't do anything forward thinking.
But honestly, if you just took Galaxy 2 in HD, Yeah,
it
when
wouldn't take
technically
much.
it still looks pretty. I mean, it doesn't look quite as good as 3D World, but it looks pretty damn good on that 3D collection. So
Yeah, it looks fucking really good.
I don't know, we would have needed to be HD and have just the same level of graphics,
Just don't think-
but with
I
higher
don't-
resolution.
When I saw Wii Sports, I thought the shit was in it because back then you didn't have the clearest videos and shit, So I thought
Mhm.
it was an HD console at first, and they were kind of alluding to it being that. I don't know if people remember that, but they were kind of alluding to, oh yeah, we're gonna have all the bells and whistles that everybody else is gonna have, basically, and they were kind of alluding to it being an HD console back then, and obviously.
So I want to read a couple comments because some really good ones. Donnie Art said, "With how well graphical Star Fox Adventure aged, if they had made Conquer, Perfect Dark, etc. on GameCube, damn, that would have been great." Yeah, you're right. Star Fox Adventures and like just fucking look at like Star Wars Rogue Leader. Look how well those games have aged. Perfect Dark would have. I mean, way better than Perfect Dark Zero.
Right. And that's another thing, because Perfect Dark we talked about, and not lose Rare, because Rare made fucking more mature titles. That was a big, huge loss
But
for Nintendo for GameCube.
I don't think they could have avoided it. I really don't.
That's probably true, but what I'm saying, because we're talking hypothetically in hindsight, what could have worked better for them?
And Rare
agree,
liked taking advantage.
I think people
of
are
hardware.
underselling what Rare was
I
to
feel
Nintendo.
You know why?
Rare,
You
for
know why?
us in the past, like Rare was like 50% of Nintendo basically, and the problem
At that
isn't
time,
necessarily just that they lost Rare, is that they didn't try and replace them.
No.
I don't know.
I mean, I think they tried to with Factor 5 a little bit, but that wasn't
only
really
Silicon Knights.
There was only so much
Silicon
time.
Knights.
There was almost so much. There was only
So
much they could do.
CK made another good point. Problem with most Nintendo developed GameCube games is Nintendo were lost on where to take these games after Zelda and Mario 64. How do you top
That's
these
fair.
games? I feel like
fair.
that was that. Whether they come out and say it or not, it felt like they were. It would be hard to top both those games on. Now we got to top Ocarina of Time and Mario 64, and
Yeah.
a lot of people feel Wind Waker is right up there or better than Ocarina of Time. So I mean, at least they did for a lot of people there.
That was a weird.
The problem with
The problem is you have games that people nowadays, and even then, we're saying like define a generation and would define.
That's what I was gonna
Right.
say.
And define a genre. You can't just make like a sequel to that.
Not just that, they defined the fucking industry and what it is today. Those two games,
Right.
Mario 64, Ocarina of Time.
Z-targeting.
It's not just that you can top what those games are, because without a doubt, Ocarina of Time is one of the greatest games ever made. It's not like you can just top the game. You cannot top the impact those two had at that moment in the
It
industry.
very much probably felt like they were competing with themselves, and they didn't know how
Yeah,
the fuck to
right.
get out of it.
And
it
that's why somebody like me, who's an uber N64 fan and didn't like the GameCube nearly as much, that's where my mind was. I was like, oh man, these fucking mind-blowing as N64 games, and you got kind of evolutions to them on the GameCube, like it was just which in hindsight is that's perfectly fine. That's what you're supposed to do with an evolution console. N64 was a revolution, and then GameCube was the evolution of that, right? So in hindsight, that's fine, but I still wanted that. I wanted my fix, man. Like like that was. I couldn't change my mind at that time.
They very much had to. They very much had to experiment, which is I very much felt that with Mario. Mario seemed like it was very much like we can't just do 64 again. Like we got to do something else. And
they
Sunshine
totally
was
they totally could have done 64.
Yeah, I think they felt like they couldn't.
Yeah,
they were like maybe let's have a focused Mario game.
Yeah, Nintendo's always second guessing themselves. That's what they do.
To be fair,
and that's what fucks them up sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I like about Mario, though. It's like it's kind of very off topic. It's kind of like how Doctor Who now changes Doctor every way. That wasn't what they originally intended, but it just happened. I think because the original actor died, so they kept changing it. And I feel that's what Nintendo does with Mario, and I like that. How now, even if it wasn't originally intended, every Mario game feels so completely different. I honestly feel like even if people don't like Sunshine, I feel we benefited from that. that they tried new things
No,
and
definitely.
not just like
Sunshine led the
built off
galaxy.
it.
I don't even feel like
Yeah,
that's an
exactly.
argument. Like
Yeah.
it's very much they
Yeah.
took the good news is they took the lessons from those games and made better games. That's the best thing about that situation. I very much believe in the grand scheme of things, when you look at Nintendo's transition from the GameCube to the Wii, their thought process was, I'm not gonna focus on the visuals as much. I'm gonna focus on how you play the game.
Yeah.
Which, as we said, was a gamble because you essentially traded power for how I'm pressing the buttons on the controller or what I'm doing to move the character, and that shit could have easily went left. The problem from the Wii to the Wii U is they thought that shit was going to be the same thing, and they're not technically wrong, but it's a gamble every time you do it. Sometimes you hit big, and sometimes you don't.
But that was from Wii to Wii U. That wasn't really them gambling. That was a surprise to me because they didn't really.
Other than resting on their laurals, pretty much.
Like Nintendo doesn't do that, and that's what was confusing about the Wii U. They kind of were resting on the laurels, calling it the Wii U first of all.
Yeah, because they never actually
Nintendo and Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that was the last time they actually stuck to the same name. They always switched the name up.
So it was
everything
kind of strange.
ever did, that was the dumbest fucking thing.
I think I very much feel like they coasted through the Wii, and they paid for it. The Wii U was the price you paid for coasting.
Yeah.
And by the time they got their shit together, well, it's 2016 or 2015. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah, because I was.
That's the thing, because the Wii U was like started failing because they thought they could just ride that wave and shit. That's when they started having to like double down on all the shit. That's why we got so much good shit for the Wii U. But sadly, Nintendo is best when they're struggling. Then they're starting to think, and like with the Wii and now with the Switch, like you still get great games, but they're kind of riding like, we're selling, so we don't need to try as hard.
They've never done that beforehand. Like that's what confuses the hell out of me. Nintendo was never like, oh, we got this wave, we're gonna ride. They just cut shit off, then move on to the next thing, right? And it'd be almost completely different.
I'll say this much. I think the least, as far as the Switch is concerned, it's very much Wii, but I think better because I feel like they're at least aware that we can't keep playing the exact same shit like they were doing on the Wii. It was very much like, here's a good chunk of shit. All right, now the console's just sitting here for the last year or two. I feel like at least as far as the Switch has had its down year, right? But we've had at least something decent every year so far.
Yeah, and
we got tons of shit coming from indie and third parties all the time.
Year 6 is looking pretty good for the Switch.
I think I'll give them credit. It looks like they at least took the lessons from the Wii and aren't going to make the exact same mistakes. So I'll say.
But I still think they did it like half and half because again, they cut the Wii U short so that they could focus on the launch of the Switch, and the launch of the Switch was like absolutely incredible. But then it started selling and going. And then they were like, okay, we're just saying like they don't want you to play the same shit. But again, then they put literally every fucking Wii U game except for Xenoblade until now they're back up again, kind of.
I agree that the Wii U situation was kind of hoed, but at that point they'd already screwed themselves. They literally, like, once you hit 2014, which I think we all agree was probably their best year for the Wii U was 2014, I would say. And 2015 still had things like Splatoon in it, and we were like, damn. If you couldn't get the thing out of the hole with those 2 years, that was it. And I very much felt like they came out of 2015 and went, yeah, I think that's it.
Well, they had more than
on the wall.
Splatoon. They had Mario Maker, Xenoblade Chronicles X. They had Yoshi, Woolly World.
When they got their shit together, 2014 and 2015 were great. But if you got to the end of 2015 and looked at the sales and went, fuck.
It helped, but it didn't help nearly enough.
Yeah, I feel like they recognized
that 2014 was nice.
So what was
and it didn't move a Wii U.
And they were like, well, fuck, we can't.
Fuck this.
We got to switch consoles. We got to.
Yeah.
This is what I mean with that video that T made and stuff. Like you guys say 2014, every fucking game that came out. I'm like 2014. Like what came out in 2014? Like I don't fucking know that shit.
2014.
That was one of the best years.
One of the best years for Switch
for Nintendo. Period.
If I remember right, Smash came out that year.
Bayonetta, Mario Kart, Hyrule Warriors.
Donkey Kong was at the beginning of that year.
Donkey
How do you
Kong,
not remember
Tropical
that shit,
Freeze.
bro?
How do you remember all those games? Like fucking almost 10 years ago, you guys can like the
Because
entire
the
fucking
Wii-
lineup.
Captain Toad Treasure
Hey,
Tracker.
Look. Because 2014
Yeah,
and
Treasure Tracker,
2015.
end of the year, right?
New
Like,
Super
it was
Luigi U, or was that
fucking glorious. It was
2013?
that was December.
No, that was 2014.
I think
thought.
2013 was New Super
Yeah, it was the
Luigi.
year of Luigi.
Like there were games. The problem is, I think Nintendo had already screwed up too much. They fucked up with the marketing. They fucked up with the power of the console. At that point, and then they finally got the games. They thought, well, if we got the games, that might be enough. And it was
It's
not.
too late.
It was not.
And they weren't just rushing.
EA off.
They weren't just rushing games out and getting incompetent, incomplete, unpolished games.
Right.
They were getting games out that were like some of the best in the franchise. Still, Mario Kart 8, undeniable. Like that game still sells today, like in high numbers. You know, that's definitely quality game.
And they hold up visually still today.
Well, I mean,
Pikmin 3,
they're
motherfucker.
not that old, to be fair. But still, like the point was that they very much recognized it and just went, yeah, if we're not selling
Super
now,
Mario 3D World. I
you
mean,
had
these are
when you
fucking
if
amazing
you had
games.
when you think about it, you had Smash, you had Mario Kart, you had 3D World out at that point. You had most of your major. You had Zelda, except not
Donkey
a new
Kong,
Zelda.
Tropical Freeze.
You had most of your major IPs out, and you still weren't selling. At that point, you go, it's not the fucking games. Like we fucked the
Yeah.
bed on that.
And they couldn't lower the price anymore because they actually got more expensive, so they dropped it to $300. But you know, it was just a disaster. It was unfortunate, but you know, they delivered on the games for those that had the system. As long as you didn't hate platformers, you were good.
And minigame collections.
I know that was OJ's that was his complaint. No, where are the RPGs? There's too many platformers, no RPGs. And now I'm saying about the Switch, every fucking Nintendo Direct now, it's like half. It feels like half of it's RPGs.
It's literally the opposite.
And I'm just like,
It's the time to play all that shit.
I'm just like, I don't care about.
The time to play all that
There's
shit.
too many. There's too many.
RPGs, but goddamn, I ain't got time to play all these motherfuckers.
It's too much.
I'm just.
I give me 3, 4 good RPGs a generation. I'm good. I don't need no 20 goddamn RPGs in a year.
Listen, considering RPGs aren't even the high end like genre anymore.
But they're the most popular. They're RPGs are as popular as they've ever been right now.
To be fair,
you gotta admit that they've never been more popular than they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my!
I just wish Shin Megami Tensei 4 was more like Persona, though. That's all I wish.
Fuck out of here.
You a dick, yo. You a dick, yo. And I haven't even picked that one up because I can't afford to fucking play it right now. I don't have the time to play it.
I don't have the time. I will get that bitch. I ain't got the time.
I'm fucking trying to pace myself in this bitch.
I'm gonna buy it and it's gonna sit like all this other shit.
Yeah, dude.
Gonna buy it like 5 times.
Dude, like I look at my Switch stack and I have more and more games and I'm like, fuck, I haven't even opened you yet.
This bitch right here, I haven't even touched this shit.
And next year is gonna
That's
be
what-
brutal.
Yes.
It's not getting any easier.
I'm very much happy they told Advanced Wars you can take December off, leave that shit alone. Because I got Pokemon in January. That's already gonna fuck me up. I feel like
Oh man, I forgot about Arceus. Goddamn.
I need and then it depends on where Bayonetta 3 hits. I'm concerned because that bitch drops at the wrong time. I'll be like, no, I don't have the free time. That was the problem with 2019 where they waited until the holiday and dropped like 6 games and you
Wasn't
were
a problem
like,
for me. I only had one.
Week time, you had like Odyssey and Fire Emblem and that kind of shit.
Fire Emblem Heroes or Warriors.
Yeah.
It all depends on what your preferred genre was. If you're a platforming guy, you look for you. I ain't
touched these bitches yet. I ain't touch them yet. What the? Well, I played a lot of Monster Hunter, but I haven't touched this shit at all.
I just want to. I want to.
These RPGs, goddammit.
Just want to thank Nintendo though for releasing 2 games that I wanted this year. Well, one I didn't necessarily. Bowser's Fury was a reluctant buy at $40, but at least I bought 2 Nintendo games this year, so that's a double of the last 2 years. So congratulations. Next year I'm thinking there's going to be 3 next year, so maybe 4. We'll see.
Yeah, depends on how the fucking release schedule comes out. It's
This
gonna be a
man is
fucking-
struggling to buy games.
Listen,
I gotta
it
say,
all-
man, I just
it
like
all depends on your genre. It all depends
the
on your
Switch
genre.
has just killed
Yeah.
my desire to game. I just don't even want to
Brutal.
turn the system on. Like,
There are a ton of
Damn.
great platformers on. I be showing you this shit, bro. There's a ton of great platformers on this bitch too. You know, you're a
Yeah, but-
platformer guy. There's a ton of
You know what the
platformers on
problem
this
is?
thing.
They're not Nintendo platformers.
Good like
Oh.
ukulele.
I
and
tried
Ball and
Ukulele Impossible
Wonderworld.
Lair. That that was a good game.
Don't
but
don't mention Battle on Wonder World around here.
Oh,
Do that shit. It's trash.
it's not like there's any.
I love
so
it how you
disappointed.
still like that. You got like 3 copies laying behind you and shit.
Yeah, but because I like this shit. It's because I know it's probably gonna end up being rare because nobody bought the shit.
Well, let's
And
talk.
then it's gonna be worth
wait,
something.
real quick, just to mention it real quick. Retro says that, but you have fucking Chibi Robo Ziplash behind you.
Oh,
What the fuck is
yeah.
that?
Get the trash out of here.
You know,
You might as well have.
the only reason I have this one behind me, I haven't even
Because
played
it-
it. It's still
the
close.
Evo.
It's because of my video, and I can't put the GameCube one here. That's the whole point. I put this one here.
Oh,
I bought
what?
the game for the amiibo, and there's no lie in them.
Yeah,
That's it.
I
That's the
wanted
only
that
reason I bought
amiibo.
that fucking game.
That's
And they
Amiibo is
Nintendo knew
sick.
that shit. They knew it was a trash fucking game. They're like, we'll throw amiibo in here,
Mhm.
and people bought that. They knew that shit.
I was so mad. It's like the same way I got mad over Kid Icarus. You got like a new Chibi Robo. It's like a fucking like.
Yeah.
It's not even a platform either. You can't call it. No, fuck off. That's, man.
That game is trash. It's trash.
What happened to
It's-
that Hey
it's-
Still,
it's
man,
Pikmin?
like that
Nintendo.
Amiibo, man. It's so
Oh, Hey
good.
Pikmin is what I
Was Hey
call a spin-off.
Pikmin? Did people like that? I
Oh,
don't.
God, I hate Pikmin. Oh,
That is a spin-off. That we
What do you
don't
think the
talk about.
Metacritic is on Hey Pikmin?
it's
probably
Pikmin
like
4, man.
Probably like 40 something.
63.
Look it up,
Actually,
Charles.
huh?
Look it up.
I thought you were doing it.
I'm gonna
Alright,
say.
alright,
I'm gonna
alright,
say
go ahead.
65.
Are you looking it up? Because I. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
All right, I was gonna look. You got it. You got it.
I was being generous because it's probably gonna be a 50 something.
All
For
right,
Hey Pikmin?
Say your scores again.
63.
Which
And
game?
what-
Hey Pikmin.
Hey Pikmin.
I'll give it a 70.
I'm gonna bump up to 66.
T's the closest. It's 69.
Damn.
It's and the user score is like a point below it. It's 6.
Well, if this is
6.8.
Price is Right, I'd lose because I'd be over.
Yeah.
It's
And Juice would win.
that game just exists. I feel like that game.
Yeah.
It's kind of
The
like
game-
not the same because it's there was no build up to a new Pikmin game, but I feel like the last WarioWare game that just came out for the Switch a few months ago, I feel like that just exists. Like I don't know anybody
Oh,
that
for sure.
got it.
Oh,
I've not
man,
seen
I forgot
any.
that bitch came out. Damn.
How did that score?
Get it together. Is that what it is?
I'm gonna guess that's like in the
Ball on
60s too.
Wonderworld.
60s, low
shit.
70s probably. But that game came out. It's like I don't think I've seen it in the stores.
All right, guess.
73.
All right, Juice.
What it? I'm gonna say 69.
All right, T.
I'm going 77.
Damn, T. It's 76.
Jeez.
It's one over.
I know the Mario Party one. That's the highest Metacritic Mario Party game ever since the first game, maybe ever, is the new
Is
Mario
it?
Party.
Is it?
I've played it a lot now, actually, the new Mario Party. And it's actually basically a new game. You'd have to call it that. Even in the game, like when you start a board, like the characters start talking about how, like 10 years ago, somebody was on this board and they fucked shit up. So let's try it again. And so like, it's kind of acknowledging that it's bringing shit over from the old games. It's kind of funny how they did
Nice.
that.
But yeah, I think that's the highest scoring
We're all playing
Mario
this
Party.
weekend, right? We're all
Y'all
playing it
gonna
for
get-
game night.
Were y'all gonna guess the score for it currently?
Which one?
Mario Party.
I thought we just did.
86.
Oh, I know what it is, so I'll go last.
I'm going 82.
It's 79 or 78.
Yeah, it's 79.
Might have gone down.
Oh, I finally.
That's the
failed.
highest scoring.
Yeah, which is Jesus Christ. Well, I guess that makes sense. None
Yeah,
of the
that
other
makes
Mario,
sense.
none of the other Mario parties are great. You know what really hurts the new one? It just doesn't have enough boards. I think that's the only thing that's wrong
I
with it.
completely agree.
It
And
literally,
I played for like a 1 week, like kind of regularly and stuff, online even, and it works great and flawlessly. You can even select if you want mini games from what system or what kind. It's really well done and stuff. But yeah, it's like 5 boards, and like not even kidding, 3 of the boards are really goddamn small. Like it's an excuse. Only
Maybe they're gonna add some.
if you make a Mario Party based off all Mario
Oh,
parties,
yeah.
you can't have as many boards as like the first fucking game. Like it's an excuse.
You have less boards than the first original game.
Yeah, that's such a weird situation. But hey, at least people are
Because it's like
enjoying it.
you're not coming up with new shit anyway. You're just copying shit that already exists. So you might as well just pick like a few more, you know?
Well, and
Should have
it's
at least
fucking,
like a dozen.
It's fucking Mario Party. Mario Party makes money no matter what. Like, just fucking
Yeah.
God. This is already the second Mario Party game on the system. Jesus.
They came really close to making a perfect one. Because I like it that they did like one of those collection things, you know, taking the best out of all of them and then building off of that. But like, can't put so little in there. Considering there's like 10 fucking games out there, you know?
The question is, can we make a new one and not rest on like old shit?
Yeah.
I hope they do.
Hey, this might be a
Maybe
mentor
that's what
effect.
they're trying, you know, to go back to the old roots to see like if it sells better than the previous one, and then maybe they'll revert back to the old stuff a little bit. But I mean,
All
like,
they
come on,
need to do
like
is
there's
that.
10 Mario parties. Like, take one board from each game, and that should be the basis of what it should be.
Yeah, do like you do Mario Karts.
Yeah, pretty much. Actually, that'd be the best way.
So let's transition because I forgot to ask Terrell in the beginning.
What's up?
Because I've watched a few, not like I haven't watched like the whole streams or anything, but you've been playing Horizon,
Yeah.
and it's interesting watching you play because you play it, and I would just summarize it like it's an RPG, and I played it like it was just an adventure game like Tomb Raider. You spend so much time in the menus doing all that, and you know, listening to the side quests, and you know, getting into that stuff. And I'm trying to play it like it's a Tomb Raider game, and it's interesting that it's supposed to be an action RPG, but I didn't really think of it as an RPG until I watched you play it. Then I'm like, yeah, this really does feel like an RPG now, and you do seem to be enjoying it more than I expected.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's very much it also has like a Monster Hunter vibe to me where like you're because like every monster has like certain weaknesses on depending on where you are on the monster and which weapons and the element you have on your weapons and shit. I didn't expect you to be able to buy so many weapons that early on in the game. Like I have like 5 or 6, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, that surprised me too.
It gives you way more than I thought it does. The only thing I don't like because you did see me do the side quest. Fuck them facial animations on the side. You know, nah,
They're pretty bad.
It's AI. They did it with AI algorithm.
I know they did, and it hurts because I'm like, fuck.
And some of the voice acting is just somebody from the staff.
That Mass Effect Andromeda shit.
That was very much the only time I was like, you know what? I wonder if it looks better on the PS5 or PC because this.
No, it's the same.
There's one thing I don't like, and I forget what they're called. But because you have to use your money is also a resource for like for your arrows and shit.
The shards or whatever.
I don't like that. The shards. Yeah. Stop doing that shit. Stop making me choose between fucking funds and arrowheads.
It wasn't until the DLC that I ran out of resources to craft stuff because those enemies were so tough that I was constantly crafting, and I ran out of the resources. I'm like, damn, like I'm out of the
That's what's fucking me up. I didn't realize how much shit I need to like constantly be like grabbing resources for. And the main thing that's fucking me up is that I'm not killing enough like normal animals and shit. And I'm like, fuck.
I'm always shooting those fuckers.
See, I
do it all the time.
I'm not used to just killing. I'm thinking, the robots are the main things I need to be killing.
You gotta get that meat, man. You gotta get that meat.
Dude, because you can't make potions without fucking meat. And I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous. This is
Did you
ridiculous.
find like the equivalent of like a dungeon or their vault for what it's called?
I've done a bandit camp, but I haven't done like.
Oh, it's in a cave. It's like a dungeon from like a Zelda dungeon-ish.
No, I don't think I haven't done.
If you have something story related that you see, do those right away because what you get for them is worth it.
I'm at the part where they're like, you have to go like beat up all the enemies.
Oh, the cauldrons.
the cauldrons. Do a cauldron as soon as you can.
Yeah, do them cauldron. I went after them bitches.
Forget
Once I
fighting the
realized
enemy
what was going
encampments,
on.
the humans.
Yeah.
If you, I don't know, the first one's probably story. I'm guessing story based because
It's not. Okay, so here's the thing. I fucked up. So I got the mission for the encampment, but I wasn't selected. I didn't select the mission. So on the waypoint, I'm still going towards the main quest. I ran across the encampment, and I think there's a guy you talk to that even triggers
that weird ass dude.
Yeah, the dude who just likes to kill for the fuck of it, but it works out because he
gets weirder. It's hilarious.
Well, what fucked me up was what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to talk to him and he'll help you do the first thing. I didn't do that. I skipped him entirely and just did the encampment on my own. And then I was like, oh, let me switch the side quest and realize, oh, he's like 2 feet away in the left direction. I'm like, oh shit, I could have made this so much easier for myself. I walk over to the guy. He's like,
glitched out the second time through. I glitched out on that because I also skipped him only on my second playthrough, and I feel like something weird happened where he was just stuck, like he was confused because I went and did the shit, and then I tried to talk to him, and it was just not working right.
Yeah, the other time is there's a section a little bit later on where you have to stop. I think it's like 3 other small bandit encampments that you have to take out before you're helping.
I enjoy those fucking things. I love the bandit.
What fucked me up is that there are enemies that showed up there I had never seen before, which are those flying birds that shoot ice at you and shit. That was my first time seeing them. Well, turns out they're not a part of that particular area. They just happen to be in the area when it happened.
Close enough, and they start fucking with your shit.
So what happened is I killed all the bandits, and then I died in the game, and I thought, but fuck, I died to the bird. I'm gonna have to reset the mission. The mission was like, no, you're good. I'm like, what? I died in the middle of it. No, the birds don't really count.
No, it's done.
The game is just surprisingly harder than I thought it was gonna be. Because I was getting my ass whooped by some of these fucking robots.
Yeah, I seen you get murked by the Watchers or whatever. Those are like the easy ones.
The Watchers,
the Watchers, bro.
No, listen.
I think they were corrupted though. They look different.
Listen.
The corrupted ones are a little tougher.
That was me getting my shit together. I'll be very open about that. Okay. The things that fucked me up.
I make fun of you because in the beginning I was trying to play that fucking game like it was melee attacks.
That's what I was doing.
I still think
that's what got me. That's what got me fucked up. You can do melee, but you got to be smart about your melee. You can't.
Well, you got to wait until you upgrade your staff. Now I can wreck shit all the time now. But that first staff and shit is not good.
When you can knock them down with a melee, that's.
I think you can, like you can stun or stagger them. I forget what they call it. Like,
you just got to plan that attack 2 seconds in advance. The heavy attack.
Yeah, I was like, fuck me. That and me, and I need to read the compendium for the monster because sometimes I'm going in the fights not realizing, oh, they're weak to this element, or oh, you should use this particular weapon. And if you don't do it, you will blow through your entire resource and go, fuck, how was I supposed to kill this thing? Oh, I was supposed to use the tripwire.
Yep. I was playing it that way in the beginning too, and that's why it took me a long time to get into the game.
Yeah, you kind of have to play it like Monster Hunter a little bit. That's how I felt.
So, you know, I'm looking forward to hearing your final thoughts when you finish it. And did you download the Ultimate Edition, or do you have just the regular?
It says Complete Edition.
Complete Edition, so you do have the DLC. Yeah. And then I'll be curious if you'll be interested to play the sequel afterwards. But we forgot to talk about something. Mr. Jeff Keighley.
Oh boy.
He's taking the middle road when it comes to Activision. He doesn't want to. He wants this night to be about celebrating gaming and not about politics. So he's not going to take sides when it comes to Activision and their shitty work environment that's been known about for quite a while now. He doesn't want to take sides. He's not going to take sides.
So mad when he's like, it's about gaming. Like the fact that it's about gaming is exactly why you should address it.
Right. It's about that paycheck you're getting. That's what that shit is.
But a lot of people pointed out he took sides against Konami.
Konami, yeah,
you know, and made a whole big speech. He was tearing up, talking about Kojima, how it was a miracle they got him to America because basically made it sound like he was like a slave, just being mistreated. And they're like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Now you're not going to take a side because they're one of your biggest probably contributors to the Game Awards, and there's probably people on the actual board, the voting
it's
board.
money.
I'm just gonna go out here on a limb. I'm gonna guess what happened to Kojima is not nearly as bad as what's happened to these Activision employees.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna guess that.
Kojima looks like he still lives in a pretty nice place. He looks like he's well dressed. I don't think he was mistreated too bad.
Yeah, fucking fraud. A fraud.
And I think if you were on the fence about watching the Game Awards, you should definitely not click now. I'll watch a trailer, but I'm gonna watch it on like the official whoever company, if Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft. I'm gonna watch it on their official YouTube channel when I hear about a trailer, maybe afterwards. Yeah. I think there should be more people talking about petitioning to boycott this damn Game Awards.
Man,
like people
gamers
in the audience
are some of the most complacent, meandering bitches. I want to mess with. I like my games, or I don't want to. I understand the idea of like, oh, that's other. This is my game. This is where I go to escape that shit, right? I totally understand that, but you can't just let this kind of shit.
You can't escape it when you see a Call of Duty fucking ad. Oh,
right.
Retro Death. He must have been. We must not have been able to hear him.
He was shook.
I just really think, man, and you're listening to this. If you're on the fence, don't watch the game. Don't give him that view. You know, you can't get you can give it a dislike, but you can't see it. So it's like
some bullshit.
I will watch.
Thanks, YouTube.
I might watch somebody who's streaming it because they're already streaming it. So I'm not gonna give the Game Awards a view, but I might give like Girlfriend's review for a few minutes just to check it.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw my hand. I fucked up, so I'm a official co-streamer for the Game Awards.
Oh jeez.
Listen. At the very least, it's views towards the channel, not towards the Game Awards.
Yeah, you're giving them one. Yeah, I'll watch. Tune into you for a bit, as long as Lightning's not on there talking.
Oh no, he's not gonna be in the.
Okay.
If he's he might be in the chat, but he's not gonna be in the call. Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Lightning.
I don't see Lightning in here in a while.
Disrespect.
So. No offense, Lightning. I can't listen to you. Sorry.
Oh.
God dang.
A little too boring for my taste.
That sounded pretty offensive.
Yeah, he said worse. He said worse to me.
Yeah, he has said worse.
So
okay, well.
But yeah, I think about wraps it up. I got a B James, wave race on the GameCube. Yeah, I mean it wasn't a good wave race, but it wasn't up to the level of the original Wave Race 64, in my opinion. He's been jumping on that.
It faltered a little bit. Like
2 Metro games, 2 Pikmin games, 3 Zelda games, and Card 4. That's a bit of a stretch. I mean, Four Swords was a spinoff. 3D Mario, F-Zero, Mario Kart, Smash, Luigi's Mansion. I mean, there's a bunch of games on there, but you've listed less games than the Wii U had, and the Wii U sold even less. Yeah. So.
And it's also a timing thing.
We were talking about if some of these games launch, if it launched with some of these games, or got them out earlier. It was just a big discussion. You got to go back and listen to it.
Yeah, because by then, Xbox was starting to really pick up. It dropped their online. Xbox Live came out. Sony was just killing it, at that point. So even with everything that Nintendo was doing, it wasn't going to sell. But that was the thing. It's a timing thing. Had they done these things in the beginning, I don't think GameCube would have been, doomed from the start.
And
I don't buy that.
Let's not pretend like Pikmin games aren't niche. Like that.
Oh,
those
niche.
are cool games, but that doesn't.
That's
not selling the system.
No.
Four Swords, and then Twilight Princess was a Wii. By that point, it was a Wii game. So it's like, yeah, it had 3 official, but Wind Waker was the only true, that could have helped the system sell. By the time Twilight Princess came out, it was too late. The Wii was already out.
Everybody else was like, oh yeah, Xbox Live, and then Xbox Live was fucking brilliant, especially in that era. And then Sony came out with their online shit. And then Nintendo's like, you don't need that. Why don't you go out and buy 4 GBAs and hook them up to your GameCube and play Pac-Man Versus? I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, they're pushing the Game Boy Advance hooked up to your GameCube.
They're pushing Game Boy Advance connectivity shit like it was online. if you would put this much effort into fucking Mario Kart Double Dash Online, this shit would be selling, bro.
What was the other thing? He's DK Jungle Beat.
Killed me with that shit.
Jungle Beat, another controversial game that should have been had a true platformer. What the hell's that noise?
Oh,
Retro. Mute the podcast. Retro. I don't think he knows he's back on. I'm muting him.
You
man.
can hear T in the background. He's like, damn, Retro, when your voice gets so sexy? What's going?
Batman Versus was dope, son. And the Tingle Tuner and shit, bro. Like, oh my god.
But yeah, like Jungle Beat. Like, I loved Donkey Kong Country, but I was not interested in Jungle Beat. I wasn't interested in a rhythm game. Like, it's a traditional platform. 3D Donkey Kong on the GameCube. Come on, that's what.
The game too, but your fucking hands would be stinging after about 20 minutes playing.
Yeah, that was pretty uncomfortable. But you know,
how fast did you guys move on from that Activision shit? I feel like my internet died. I instantly turned my phone on, and you guys were talking about the GameCube.
There's a delay because somebody in the chat was.
That donor shit.
We said all we had to say. Don't watch the Game Awards. He's a crook.
You know, people don't want to talk about this shit. And I understand that too. I don't want to talk. It's too creepy. It's filthy.
And I will just say about the Game Awards, Nintendo's going to push Arceus, Brilliant Diamond, and the Zelda Game & Watch. That's what you're going to see at the Game Awards. You're not.
You don't think there's going to be?
They haven't, even the last couple years, they haven't done anything major other than Smash characters. They haven't done anything major.
Somebody said something in their prediction that made a lot of sense, and I can't remember what it is right now.
The only thing that I get, maybe Splatoon. That's the only
new trailer for Kirby or something.
But if they're gonna pick something that would get people excited, it's either gonna be like a brand new game announcement that comes out of left field.
Again, this is complete bullshit. Somebody told me this shit years ago, and I don't even know. You know, rumor. What would be pretty cool would be, you know, because they were Prime Trilogy. I don't think Nintendo's ever they're not gonna do a Prime Trilogy. Why the fuck they gonna do that when they can make $60 on one fucking game? They're not putting, you know, they're not giving you no trilogy.
Maybe they'll do
in this era. So Metroid Prime remaster, just Metroid Prime.
Well,
alone.
Here's the thing: the sources were saying that it would be too much work to do that, and then a few months ago, sources are saying, yeah, the Prime Trilogy's ready to go. You know, same. I don't know if it's the same sources, but
that's because people want it to be ready to go.
And what I'll say is, expect it to be GTA Trilogy level or 3D All Stars level. It's not going to be some massive undertaking. If they do a trilogy, it's going to be bare bones. Maybe widescreen, probably widescreen.
Broken like
1080p. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it's gonna be just up-res, the Wii version widescreen.
Yeah.
And possibly motion controls as an option or as the main.
It's not gonna be no damn, you know. It's not gonna be no Unreal Engine, 5 remake. It ain't gonna be that. First of all, it would melt your Switch.
What happened to your arms, girl?
So they're not doing that. And Unreal Engine doesn't seem to be working out too well for the Switch, anyways.
You're too white to the screen.
That is not a good photo of Aloy. I gotta say.
No, you're right. It is.
That is not a good photo of Aloy.
There it goes. It's gone, folks. It's gone. Hold on.
But anyway, so sorry we missed last week. Just too many people couldn't make it, and it's hard to come up with obviously topics beforehand. We always come up with something during the podcast, but this one I didn't know where we're going to take this conversation. So
exactly.
We talked a lot about.
Call it Wii U and GameCube.
I just put it what could have saved
the
I put what could have saved the GameCube as a clickbait title.
That works.
But we talked about quite a few things, and So we gotta discuss the game of the year podcast, because I don't want to do it in February, and I don't know what's coming out late this year that's gonna really push people into late. I know Halo comes
January,
out
because late January I'm gonna be on a cruise.
I'm thinking like mid-January. Like let's put some pressure. Put some pressure on. I'm guessing Halo single player ain't gonna be super long.
There's like 2 games I'm gonna see if I'm trying to get through.
I was thinking
I'll
about
get through Halo in the weekend.
Solar Ash looks pretty promising. I was thinking about maybe picking that up. Heard some
The Gunk. I forgot all about the Gunk.
So
is that this year?
That's coming out, yeah.
Is
December.
Really?
Yeah.
I
think December 14th or something.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
I haven't seen anything on it since the reveal.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see.
I'd be shocked if that.
Cool.
It's you know, it's pretty ambitious for them, so we'll see how they how they deliver.
Yeah. Let's see.
What does it say?
It says the initial release date was September. What the hell is it? Yeah, December 16th.
Is there
Yeah,
any
16.
trailer?
No.
I don't.
Actually,
I don't
the last thing they mentioned was back in November.
Well, either way,
they're gonna push that shit the next year probably.
they probably should.
Probably.
When is the Game Awards anyway? Is it this week?
Yeah, it's this week.
Thursday.
It's Thursday.
And
I ain't
Halo comes
watching that
out.
shit.
Halo comes out what, Friday?
Does it?
The Expanse comes out Friday. The season 6.
What's the 8th? It come out on the 8th, doesn't it?
No, the 8th is.
That's
the 8th
Wednesday.
Is,
Today's the
Wednesday.
6th.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
I still gotta play
Oh.
Forza Horizon 5. I was just like,
Yeah.
and I just
Have you not?
I'm somebody's getting Game Pass this week, so I can get up.
and I just started redoing my theater room, like painting the walls and stuff.
Oh yeah, I saw the
Yeah,
YouTube.
I'm just
saw
like,
your YouTube short.
Yeah,
fuck, man.
that sounds too modern for you.
The problem is the
I know, right?
painting's the easy part, but patching the fucking all the issues that came. I glued stuff. I glued some trim up, and I'm like, God, I'm pulling it
shit's
off.
a
It's
pain,
ripping the
man.
fucking drywall. So, and I'm building some wood beams, and I just got all the wood today, and yeah, it's gonna be a week.
Got all the wood today.
I'm hoping to have it walls painted and stuff back on the walls in time for the Expanse on Friday, the season 6 final season. It's only 6 episodes. I'm a little bummed, but anyway,
I know, man.
they pulled a little Game of Thrones. They had a set number of budget, and they said they could make 6 episodes really elaborate, or they could make 8 or 10 episodes with each with less money for each episode. So anyway, if you're not watching The Expanse and you're a sci-fi fan, like I said a few years ago, you're doing sci-fi wrong. That is the best, not only current sci-fi show, but one of the best all time, I think. So, and it's on Amazon Plus or Amazon Prime around the world. Anybody who has Amazon Prime anywhere in the world can watch it. Great stuff. So anyway, with that, we'll end it so we can talk about movies, and Terrell can instantly drop out. So, but
he knows me so well. Yo.
We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching.
I saw that fucking wave, bro. How dare you? Man,